It's a very exciting time to be a Norwich fan, particularly because of our transfer business. Now, we haven't been in the top flight for 3 seasons in a row since the 90s. It's kind of uncharted territory for us, and it's been backed up with a series of eye-raising signings. Some of the business was done very early. We signed Ricky van Wolfswinkel, who is a Dutch striker that we got from Sporting Lisbon, and who appears to have averaged about 1 goal every 2 games across the Dutch and the Portuguese leagues. Leroy, who's another Dutch international. They're both the same age as well, 24. We also signed Gary Hooper, but while these lot are coming in, we're also saying goodbye to the generation who brought us from League One to the Premiership in consecutive seasons and helped us stay there. And there's none more prominent amongst that group than Grant Holt. Most fans consider him an utter, undiluted legend. For me, he tarnished his legacy by asking for a transfer after the first Premiership season in 2012, and I don't think personally he ever pulled his weight for Chris Hughton in the same way that he did for Paul Lambert. I realise now saying pulling his weight, there's a joke there someplace, but I'm not going to make it. Grant was just embodied everything about our side in those Lambert years, that we were unheralded, quite often journeyman players who had appetite, hunger, desire. He was a big player for us, and very much representative of the club for a time. But I think that time has now come to an end, and to see him move on to Wigan and European football, it's probably good for both parties. Last year was, for the most part, written up as quite a negative experience by Norwich fans. There was a lot of complaining that we didn't score enough goals, which is true, that we played cautious defensive football, which I'm not sure necessarily was true, and also that we came too close to relegation. My concern is that expectations will go a lot higher now, and that there will be some people who will be thinking, well, if we're not kind of qualifying for Europe at the end of the season, there's a problem. For me, I think actually a realistic expectation is that we would finish roughly where we finished last season and the season before, mid-table. We finished 12th in 2012, 11 in 2013. So maybe a slight improvement on that into the top half, I think, would be a realistic expectation. I think also it would be fair for fans to expect us to in some way make up for the disastrous FA Cup run of last season, where we were knocked out by non-league Luton Town, and give either the Carling Cup or the FA Cup a good go.